Tech mogul Bryan Johnson, who's 45, spends $2 million per year to get an 18-year-old body. Which, by the way, depending on how you say this in terms of like the tone and whatnot, can be like really, really, really creepy, you know? But imagine that. Imagine you just had the excess cash to literally just spend $2 million for like anti aging stuff. So let's get into it. So, a middle aged software developer worth nine figures says he spends around $2 million each year to biohack his body into regaining its youth. Bryan Johnson, 45, who made his fortune in his 30s when he sold his payment processing company Braintree Payment Solutions to eBay for $800 million in cash, is touting a daily routine that he says has given him the heart of a 37-year-old, the skin of a 28-year-old, and the lung capacity and fitness of an 18-year-old. Johnson has a team of 30 doctors and regenerative health experts overseeing his regimen, he told Bloomberg News. His goal is to eventually have all of his major organs, including his brain, liver, kidneys, teeth, skin, hair, penis, and rectum, function as they were in his late teens, Johnson said. The initiative, known as Project Blueprint, requires Johnson to abide by a strict vegan diet amounting to 1,977 calories per day, a daily exercise regimen that lasts an hour, high intensity exercise 3 times a week, and going to bed every night at the same time. What I do may sound extreme, but I'm trying to prove that self harm and decay are not inevitable, Johnson told the outlet. The thing is, I don't really see where he's doing something extreme. Like, the only thing that might be like extreme is basically the strict vegan diet, because who knows what that actually entails. But still, imagine making $800 million in cash. Like, that's so much money. Oh, also, Johnson seen in 2017 before he began his strict health regimen. The thing is, he does look potentially younger. Maybe. Well, the thing is, like, the quality of his hair looks better, at the very least. So Johnson wakes up every morning at 5 a.m., takes 2 dozen supplements, which is sounds honestly horrible, works out for an hour, drinks green juice laced with creatine and collagen peptides, and brushes and flosses his teeth while rinsing with tea tree oil and antioxidant gel. Before bedtime, Johnson wears glasses that block blue light for 2 hours. He also constantly monitors his vital signs and undergoes monthly medical procedures to maintain his results, including ultrasounds, MRIs, colonoscopies, and blood tests. And while sleeping, Johnson is hooked up to a machine that counts the number of nighttime erections. He also takes daily measurements of his weight, body mass index, body fat, blood glucose levels, and heart rate variations. Now, here's the thing. This guy basically kind of suffers with having too much money and too much time to know what to do with it. Right? Like, this is kind of like a situation where basically, like, if you were to give someone who's obsessive, like, the equivalent of like a lottery win, this is basically what they're going to do. Let's see. So Johnson is the CEO of Kernel, which manufactures a $50,000 helmet that tracks brain signals. Now that's interesting because you could technically track brain signals with, I think, like really very, very like cheap electrodes that you just stick to your head, you know? That is basically like easily bought from China. So I treat athletes and Hollywood celebrities, and no one is pushing the envelope as much as Bryan. Jeff Toll, an internist who is part of Johnson's team, told Bloomberg News. Johnson said that his interest in pursuing eternal youth was triggered by a severe downturn in his mental and physical health before he sold Braintree to eBay. Johnson told Bloomberg News he was overweight, depressed, and nearly suicidal, a result of an accumulation of stress and working long hours. The thing is, I feel like a lot of problems in life, in terms of like just your mental state, could be solved by one, just having good sleep. Like, just sleep. Because, like, if you stumble upon this, like, if you are losing a lot of sleep consistently, you start to lose your mind very quickly. Oliver Zolman, a 29-year-old physician who is heading up the medical team hired by Johnson, said his goal is to prove that a human being can reduce the medical age of each of their organs by 25%. There is no person in the world who is 45 chronologically but 35 in every organ, Zolman told Bloomberg News. If we can eventually prove clinically and statistically that Bryan has made that change, then it would be such a large effect size that it will have to be causative of the intervention and beyond what's genetically possible. And here's the thing, right? I think it's cool for someone to try to improve their situation, improve their life, their health, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, like, hey, guess what? If you got hit by a bus tomorrow, you're done. You know? So, like, if this is what's important to you, go ahead and, like, focus on that. If personal finances are important to you, focus on that. Which, by the way, if you want to learn how to get out of debt and learn how I got out of debt and grew my net worth, go down below. Like, focus on the things that you care about, right? Because eventually, we're going to leave this world. Interesting. Broccoli, mushrooms, cauliflower, and I think some sort of grain, maybe chickpeas. So Johnson founded Kernel, a startup that manufactures $50,000 a piece helmets that measure brain signals and the impact of meditation in pharmaceutical interventions on chronic pain. And in recent years, Silicon Valley billionaires, including Peter Thiel and Jeff Bezos, have invested vast sums of money into startups that have tried to come up with technology that will enable humans to live well into their hundreds. So this is going to be interesting, some of these comments. I bet you he is one of those people who drives alone in his car with a mask on. Probably. Should I spend that money on his face? Let's see. He can do whatever he wants with his money, but that $50,000 helmet that monitors brainwaves is crazy. I worked as a medical technologist in which I read brainwaves for certain studies, and there's really no reason to constantly monitor brainwaves unless you're worried about seizures or chronic sleep apnea. But even then, you don't need to do it that often, and you can monitor your brainwaves for a small fraction of the cost of that helmet. Again, like, agreed. Like, here's the thing, there's going to be people rich enough or foolish enough to spend 50 grand on it. Like, there just are. But I don't know. These super rich elites just always confuse me sometimes. How lone and desperate he must be. By all means, turn back the clock, but enjoy a slice of birthday cake and a Randy Paramore. Wow. Have no clue what a Randy Paramore is. All that money spent, and he still looks like a fit woman. Who wants to live well into their 100s? For a mere 2 million per year, you too can have No life. Act now. Oh Lord, some of these comments. Honestly, I love some of these comments. Like they're always pretty entertaining. Let's see. So, where did this dude socialize? Does he hang out near high schools to be among his peers? Oh, wait, he doesn't have any. Sounds like a lonely, strange man. The thing is, he definitely seems lonely because, like, to be a part of the whole biohacking community and whatnot is typically mainly like entrepreneurs who have too much money and too much free time, basically. Let's see. With that kind of money, you'd think he'd get a better hair dye job. Agreed. What is the point of having all that money and no one to share your life with while surviving on supplements and exercise? Have a pizza, go on vacation, and donate to charity. Exercise regularly, eat right, start a family, and enjoy life. So I kind of like the perspective of, I think, one like jujitsu guy, like a young guy, right? But he basically does, like, his job is basically being like a professional jujitsu guy. Like, he gets paid to do that because he's an elite at it, right? But he's doing what he loves. It's also burning so many calories a day that he could literally make and eat pizza and pasta every single day and just be completely shredded, right? So you could look extremely shredded while eating awesome food, very tasty food, if you just structure your life in a way where you could basically do what you love to do every single day that happens to be something active. So basically, this guy's the male version of Jennifer Lopez. And I wouldn't really put him in the same context as Jennifer Lopez. Let's see. So that's the result of 2 million per year. Bryan, contact me. I have a bridge in Brooklyn for sale. Less than 1 million for the whole bridge. The thing is, this individual probably could have done the majority of this stuff for less than 5 grand a year. Maybe a little bit more if he were to spend money on like TRT or something. Like, good sleep doesn't cost anything, right? Blue light glasses, $10 from like China or Amazon, which could be the same place, right? A vegetarian, vegan diet, whatever. You could probably find really cheap options at like Walmart. Like, there's nothing that I see really that would just cost a bunch of money. I don't see where someone like, well, I mean the food might actually be more than like 5,000 a year, obviously, but I mean like just like the big things, like I don't really see any big things that necessarily cost him $2 million a year, except for hiring a team of doctors for who knows what, right? You could literally just send your blood work to a clinic and they'll just tell you what's wrong with you. Look at me, I'm rich. Look at me, spending me money. I'm so in love with me. Woo hoo. Yet he still needs Viagra. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And the problem that I typically see with people who are on the vegan diet in terms of like older age, because I have family members that do follow more of a vegan diet or vegetarian diet at the very least. The problem with that is that a lot of times, one, they don't really supplement correctly to the point where they start at an older age, start having very serious issues with their bone density. So if something happens to their bones at an older, like when they're in older age, it could get really, really bad. It's practically like there's just nothing there, pretty much. Dude, two things. You're still gonna die, and God will ask you, what good did you do on this earth with all your millions? P.S. Can I have your prostate when you're done with it? That sounds disgusting. I'm almost 50. I work out and eat healthy, but also love to laugh and socialize with good friends. My abs are still showing, and I still have muscles from a lifetime of outdoor activity, combined with home cooked good food. It didn't cost me millions. Exercising in a nutrient rich diet over the years has made me proud to reach this age with no body modifications and be the same weight size as I was in my early 20s. It can be done, it's not impossible. Start as early as you can, and you will age gracefully. This person says, yeah, I'm 45 and I have a better body than I did at 18. And outside of a gym membership and eating nutrient dense food, I haven't spent any additional money. So, 2 dozen supplements every morning, so a multivitamin and 24 shots of adrenochrome. I gotta say, like the comments are always super fun on some of these like news sites. Super fun. Feel free to give your thoughts on this. Like to me, if I was so rich, if I had $2 million to like spend money on, I certainly wouldn't spend $2 million on like biohacking. Maybe I'll spend some money on like traveling with like family because I have family members that really want to travel. Like maybe I'll take care of like stray dogs, like I'll just adopt dogs, right? Have like a massive farm of like animals that I could just take care of and like run free, woo, right? I don't understand the purpose of like me. I want to be younger, me kind of thing. It just seems odd, right? Because like to me, it's just like you're dedicating so much of your day to this, right? Is like, how much do you care about this? To me, the whole biohacking stuff, I just couldn't really be bothered spending that amount of time dedicating to it. But I would definitely spend money on like blood work, depending on like my age and whatnot, at that financial status and whatnot. Maybe if the blood work shows that I might need like TRT, maybe I'll go on TRT, right? Maybe I'll get a personal trainer, maybe not. Don't really need it. I mean, you could pretty much just probably maintain a really healthy body weight with just a jump rope and some free weights. Maybe not even using free weights. Like, it just really all depends on like what do you want to spend the most of your day on. Personally, I'd rather just be lounging about with my dogs, reading a book. I'd rather do that than spending $2 million a year just so that I could pretend like I have a younger body. Like, that just seems odd to me. By the way, like, in terms of like fun, right? I'd probably spend like $1 million just to buy a Bugatti just for the fun of it. Like $2 million for this, right? I swear, some of these like super rich elites, they spend money on the most random stuff, and they spend a lot of money on some of the most random stuff.